bringing condoms to me. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra, read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it. Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra, extra, read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. Find out nothing sweet about it. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Moving, shaking, coming down to me. Stacking, racking, money, power flipping. Ay, ay. Look. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Look, Papa don't preach, teachers don't teach. Gon' reach, that's facts. I ain't worried about none of that. I'm making that cash stack. Bunch of O's like NASCAR, but it's really more like NASDAQ. Why they thinking that they hot when they really more like quarter on me like a referee? Hating what they'll never be. Small top with a big bottom, yeah, shorty shaped like a letter D. Let her have it, then I let her be. If you love it, gotta let it grow. Crazy cause you really never know. When I'm hurting, never let it show. I'm a two-tone, two-phone, two-chain, new thing, lame whip, but you a broke. Low class, no cash, certified lame. I've been getting to it like I ought to. Couldn't pick, so I bought two. Understand why your chick came, I'm just trying to figure why she brought you. I'm really reppin' and I'm flexed up, and I ain't gotta tell him I'm next up. Sleep on the they rest up, but I'm up and I'm getting my checks up. Me and the fellas be high as propellers, ain't could tell us we great. Looking at like how do you figure unless you been talk about 8 figures. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Look how we litty, we turned up the city, we raising the bar height. I been finessing, just look at them stressing, yeah, they been up all night. Sipping this water with somebody's daughter, she take what I taught her and build on it. Came in this game on that today, ain't in a couple years later, we still on it. Be hating on it, be waiting on it like a new season. I bet an acre on it, I put some paper on it like I'm loose leafing. Buying them assets, build me a cash net I could fall in. Look at my last bet, ain't got a tiptoe, I'm all in. Think on a level that can't fail, and I roll me a J with the hate mail. Been doing good on the merch sale, all this bread on me look like a bake sale. Tell her your was really good, I'll be really good on a jaw jack. Send an email about the bread, I'ma hit you back with the call back. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome back, Thursday night in the building. Come on in, we gonna get started. I ain't gonna waste no time. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let me know where you are checking in from. Let me know where you're checking in from. Hit that like button, hit that like button. Hit that like button, all right? Come on in. Let's see who we got. In the building tonight. Make sure my mic is up. We good right there. What's up, Mark Brown? Mark Brown in the building. We got Haines City, Florida in the building. The right way to truck was good. Let's see, we got Florida in the building, Sanford, Florida in the building. Miami, Florida is in the building. Sean Allen is in the building. Thank you, sir, in advance. I don't know what you're thanking me for, but appreciate you. New York is in the building. Alabama's in the building. Interstate Screw, Detroit is in the building. Come on in. Hit that like button. Let me know where you're checking in from. Make sure you hit that poll too. Make sure you hit that poll. We got 27 votes. We got 30 people in the room so far, which is pretty good for me not even being on here a minute yet, really. All right, so 32 people so far. We got 27 votes. The poll for tonight, which one is your box truck goal? We got one truck, which means you want to run one truck. You just want to focus on being an owner-operator. Just you and your one truck. We got 1 to 5 trucks. You want to run a small fleet. We got 6 to 10 trucks. And we got 11 plus trucks. All right. So we got 27 votes so far. Owner-operator, 26% or 25%. 1 to 5 trucks, 52%. 6 to 10, 7%. 11 plus trucks, 17%. All right, so that's the poll for tonight. I got to remind myself before I end the live to check the results and go over the results. Obviously, the poll usually coincides with whatever the topic is going to be. I meant to put a PowerPoint together, but something came up today, so I really didn't get a chance to put one together. But I got my notes, and tonight we got a very good topic. We have a very good topic tonight, so come on in, hit that like button, and let me know where you're checking in from. All right. Why thinking small is the key to big success for your box truck business. Why thinking small is the key to big success for your box truck business. All right. You're probably thinking like, what the hell is Mark talking about tonight? Right? What is he on tonight? Thinking small. Some of y'all was taught to always think big. All right. But in business, you want to think small. You want to dream big. You want to set big goals, but you want to think big. All right. You want to think small. Not think big. You want to think small. All right. You want to dream big, think small. And I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to give you examples. I'm going to correlate what I'm talking about to my start in trucking. I'm going to give you examples from some people that we publicly coached online, that you guys got, to witness their journey, and you're still witnessing their journey. And then I'm going to give you some other key points that correlate to what I'm talking about as far as thinking small for your box truck business and how thinking small will ultimately lead to big success. All right. So come on in. Let me just follow up. We got Fresno in the building. What else? Let's see. I see some conversation. St. Louis in the building. Is the Walk in the building. We got Nashville in the building. Cali in the building. I see some questions in the building, but we ain't got to that part yet. All right, so check it out. Let's get started. Thinking small, dreaming big, thinking small. All right. A lot of people come into business, right? And they have these big goals, these big dreams, these big aspirations, right? But the problem is they want to take an express route to those big goals, those big dreams, and those big aspirations. And most of the time, that's why so many people have a hard time reaching those goals. And then they get discouraged. And once they get discouraged, they ultimately just give up. All right. All right. So what I want people to do is think small. All right. So let's have story time. I'm gonna have a little story time, and I'm gonna kind of correlate what I'm talking about. All right. Because what I think a lot of people need to do is they need to think small and focus on small wins, right? And compile those small wins into big success. All right. Backstory with me. I've said it before, but it kind of correlates with what I'm talking about. Me started very, very, very small, right? Very small. Did I have big goals? Big goals popped in my mind. Big dreams popped in my mind. Big vision was in my mind. I saw what eventually became reality. I had the vision for it early on, right? Me personally, I didn't pursue my vision directly, right? I didn't pursue it directly, right? I took baby steps, right? I focused on small wins, right? So I started with a pickup truck, right? Started with a pickup truck. I didn't bite off more than I could chew. Didn't bite off more than I could chew. One, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? I was learning as I was going forward, right? I started with a pickup truck. Didn't bite off more than I can chew. I took small jobs. I put it in my ad that I could only take small jobs. I was very upfront in my ad placement that I was in a pickup truck so that I wouldn't mislead anyone. I wouldn't waste anyone's time to call me with larger job opportunities and then ultimately have to let them down when I say I couldn't take it because I had a pickup truck. I didn't want to waste anybody's time. I didn't want to mislead anybody, right? I took small jobs, right? Didn't know what I was doing. I said it before. I didn't know how to maneuver furniture. I wasn't physically fit at that time. So I focused on those little small things. And me focusing on those small jobs, it allowed me to build a skill set, learn the industry, kind of hone that craft and get better, right? So once I mastered that, well, before we go to that, also another key point was the fact that when I placed an ad that said I was in a pickup truck, it was only going to attract a certain consumer, right? The consumer that called me at that time, right, was a consumer who pretty much had hand-me-down furniture, right? Me personally, if I had to move, let's say I didn't have a moving company and I had to call someone to move with the way my loft is furnished, I wouldn't think about Craigslist. I wouldn't think about a guy in a pickup truck. I have nice things, right? I'm going to call a professional company that's going to come in, that's going to wrap my items, that's going to be that's going to be careful. I'm calling a professional company. I'm not calling a guy on Craigslist. So the people that called a person on Craigslist and then narrowed it down to a pickup truck, one, they knew they only had a few things. Two, they weren't concerned about the condition that the items made it there in. Most of the stuff was messed up anyway. It was hand-me-down furniture, already scratched up, beat to hell, most of these people. And the people's stuff who wasn't beat to hell, the other people's stuff were college students. They didn't have furniture. They had those little plastic 3-drawer tote dresser things that you can buy at Target and you can buy at Walmart. I don't know what they cost. They probably cost $20-$30. It's like a 2-3 foot high plastic thing, and it got 3 little drawers, and that's what most college kids have, right? And then they'll have that pallet mattress that you go to IKEA get, and it rolls up. They'll have that. Like every dorm we would move would have that same IKEA mattress. You know what I'm saying? Just little things, boxes, things like that. But for the most part, it was a customer who, one, didn't have a lot of money because my price point was structured, right, for a specific clientele, right? They didn't have a lot of money and they didn't care too much about their furniture. So that allowed me to learn how to maneuver stuff without having to worry of being too careful. Yeah, I was careful, but I knew I was going to make mistakes. But I didn't have that worry like, man, this is a really nice Walter E. Smith dresser, or this is a really nice armoire. Eventually, as I got bigger and the company grew, I remember going on a job where, I think I said this before, where we had to move a $20,000 Ralph Lauren armoire, and this was 10, 11, 12 years ago. And that item at that time was already 20 years old. I don't think Ralph Lauren sells furniture anymore. I don't even think they were selling furniture then. So this was a vintage piece. It was irreplaceable, right? All right. Now imagine me starting a business with big dreams, big goals, big aspirations, skipping all these small steps, going straight to move a Ralph Lauren armoire that was irreplaceable, right? So once I conquered the pickup truck, and then another thing that the pickup truck allowed me to do, playing Tetris every day, it allowed me to become good at packing, right? So ultimately, when I went to that first 16 footer, packing, was relatively, I don't want to say it was easy, but I already had been developing that skill set. So mastering things with the pickup truck was a small win. It's a very small win, right? Now, remember, I got this vision later on down the line that I ultimately hit warehouse by the grace of God, 15 trucks. I seen it, right? But that was a small win to ultimately get me to that goal. Now, as I'm working in that pickup truck and I'm learning and I'm getting better and I'm getting better, the smart business guy in me is like, man, I wonder how much if I rent a truck. If I rent a truck, it'll cut down on a lot of time playing Tetris, which we can make the job a lot more efficient. And because it's going to be efficient, we can get done quicker. I can charge a higher price point, which ultimately we can do less jobs if we desire to. Or we could do more jobs because we're working a little bit more efficiently now, because we're saving time, because we're not having to play. Now, you got to play Tetris sometimes in a truck, but playing it in a pickup truck is like playing Super Tetris, right? Because even though sometimes the ad would say, pickup truck, small moves only, you would still have people call with a 1-bedroom, a studio, and say, man, I got a few items, they'll all fit in a pickup truck, because they're looking at that price point and they really didn't have that much money. All right, so I'm thinking, maybe if I get this 16 footer, I could be a little bit more efficient, save time, make more money, take more jobs if we desire, take less jobs if we desire, because ultimately we're making more money because the price point is a little bit higher because we're in a bigger truck. Ultimately, we still did the same amount of jobs. Sometimes we took more because I was about that bread. All right, so I started doing research. I called Penske. Penske said, yeah, we can give you a 16-foot box truck. It's going to be woo-wop the bam. I think I was paying $225 for the week. I was paying 10 cents a mile. This is still all under the table. I'm not a licensed company yet. So this is $225 a week, 10 cents a mile. And we were paying $5 for their supplementary insurance and then $5 for their liability insurance, right? One move covered the truck for the week. All right, so one move, truck is paid for the week. I increased the labor rate, right? We're making more money. We're getting the job done more efficiently. I'm able to take a little bit larger job now. Now I'm focusing up to 1 bedroom. So now I got to add, I changed the ad, focusing on anything up to 1 bedroom now, right? Because we already mastered a few items. We mastered dorm. We mastered the deliveries, the couch deliveries. I was cold with the couch deliveries, the $99 couch pickup and deliveries, the $75 mattress pickup. And I was charging $75 for a mattress pickup back then. All right, $99 for a couch pickup and delivery back then. All right, mastered that. So in a 16-foot truck, now notice I went from the pickup to the 16. I didn't go straight to the 26. All right, boom. So now everything up to a dorm, second nature in the 16-foot. We throwing that stuff in there like it's nothing. Ain't got to play Super Tetris. We still packing the truck efficiently, but it's not time consuming like a pickup. We focusing on 1 bedrooms now. It's a bigger move. This is the next level. So now it's a bigger move. We're dealing with more stairs. We're dealing with more furniture. I'm seeing different things outside of college dorm room furnishings or hand-me-down small junior 1 bedroom or convertible apartments where the parents gave them a bunch of old shit and it was scratched to hell. It looked like the cat just scratched the thing to all hell that people don't care about. Dealing with 1 bedroom, people care about their stuff. All right. So now that skill set that I learned from messing people's stuff up, from learning the industry that didn't care if we messed it up because it was messed up already, I'm applying that skill set now. I'm being more careful. I'm L'ing these couches, but I'm seeing different couches. I'm not just seeing IKEA stuff no more. I'm seeing 93-inch couches with a flared out back. This is Chicago. We got 3 flats. You got 4 flats. No, 4 flat buildings. Walk up. No elevator. You know, some of these buildings are historic buildings that were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, where furniture wasn't this big and bulky. It was not 93-inch. I haven't seen a picture from the 1910s or 1920s with a 3-seater sofa. Most of the pictures that I've seen from back then, where I saw somebody sitting on a sofa, was what we know as a love seat. And if there were 3-seater sofas back then, I haven't run across any in pictures. But if there was, I'm guarantee you not some of the 93-inch sofas that exist today, where the back flares out and the arms flare out and all that stuff. So basically what I'm saying is some of these buildings weren't designed for furniture that large. We've moved people. I started experiencing elevator buildings, right? In older buildings, right? Where the couches couldn't fit in the elevators. Why? Because furniture wasn't that big. Couches weren't that long back when these buildings were built. These are some of these old elevators that used to have the elevator operator back in the day, where you got to close the first door, then slide the gated door down, lock it in, and then turn the wheel and hit the button. Some of these elevators might only be 6 foot, 7 foot high. Couch won't fit. Now the mindset of really having to think is playing in. But guess what? I'm learning as I go. Boom, that got mastered. Another small win, right? Now that small win is allowing me to take more jobs and more jobs and more jobs and more jobs and more jobs, right? And as I'm taking these more jobs and we're doing a great job, because I got Aaron with me. I talked about Aaron before. Hit the like button. Follow me now, because this is thinking small. You know what I'm saying? Thinking small will lead to big success. I got Aaron with me. I went and found somebody that was skilled in moving to kind of teach me. Even though he was working for me, he was teaching me, because he had experience in this industry and I didn't. All right. I had the equipment and the wherewithal and the entrepreneurial mind to get up and get this going, but he had the skill set. All right. So now, master one truck, profitable the whole time, profitable, right? Because of the way I went about it. I didn't go from 0 to 1,000. So I was profitable out the gate because I took small steps and focused on small wins. Boom, conquer one truck. I'm getting multitude of calls. I'm like, man, I'm turning more people away than we could take. I can run another truck. You know, a lot of people that want to work. It's the entrepreneurial mind. One move is covering one truck for the week. We working 7 days a week. So I grabbed 2 more guys off the block. I called my rep up at Penske, Brian. Hey, Brian, I need another truck. So, okay, Mark, when can you come? When can you come get it? Same rate. Go grab 2 guys off the block. Now, instead of me telling all these people that are calling that we're booked, right? I could take 3 more moves a day. Charging X amount. I could pay you this. I could pay you this. I know how much I'm making off the labor, the truck fee. We include the material costs and the truck fee. I'm making money off that truck. I'm running one truck with Aaron. I got another team running that second truck. As soon as I start that second truck, it's already a success, right? Because I mastered the first truck. And this is where I try to tell A lot of people, because they have these big dreams and these big aspirations, because they thinking big, they dreaming big, when they should really be thinking small, dreaming big, and having a big vision and big goals, but thinking small. So when I got that second truck, as soon as the first day I put it out, it was profitable. Because I already had a formula that was working. I just duplicated it. So that was immediately another small win. I'm still getting calls though. It didn't stop there. I'm still getting calls. So now I'm up to 6 jobs a day, and I'm still having to tell people we're booked. Right? Now, there's more to the story that, me bringing on the second truck. Obviously, I had to train these guys. It wasn't just throw them in the truck and send them on their way. No, it wasn't like that. They had to come on the truck one by one with me and Aaron. We would train them for a week or two, and then we sent them out on their own. All right? So that truck was successful, still getting calls, duplicated it again. Another small win. But these small wins are compiling. You follow what I'm saying? These small wins are compiling. And as they're compiling, I'm constantly growing, making more money, and more money. Ultimately, we get the license. I get a call one day from a company, right? At this point, we're on Yelp. Yelp was really, really big at the time. It was a startup, but this was during the phase of the review phase where everybody was going to review. Moderators, shout out to the moderators. Look, Michael, you keep asking the same question. I've seen people answer it. I don't know if you're new to the channel, but you can't spam your question. Just because you're spamming it doesn't mean I'm going to answer it. I have a way I do things. I do my presentation, and if you're here at the end, I'll answer your question. I see your question. I'm not going to stop and answer your question and do things different. So what I'm asking you to nicely do is stop putting your question. Spamming it is not going to make me answer it. Sorry about that, guys. So Yelp is a startup at the time. This is around 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And everybody was writing reviews on Yelp. I didn't know what Yelp was, right? The way it worked back then was this was before you could claim your page. Someone would make your page. You would do a move for someone. Someone would create the page with your name and then write a review. I found out about it when people started calling and said, "Hey, I found your company on Yelp." I'm like, what the hell is Yelp? So I go to Yelp, and it's a review site, and I forgot how many reviews we had at the time, but it was a few. It was less than 10, maybe like 6 or 5 or 7, something like that at the time. And not long story short, because I'm walking you down real quick. I got a call from a company that y'all know as T-Force. All right. Back then it was called Dynamics. All right. And this guy named Eric Field, right? Said, "Hello, my name is Eric Field, calling with Dynamics." He said, "We are really having an issue. We have this IKEA contract, and we've mostly dealt with small package courier work. Furniture is kind of new for us, and a lot of our independent contractors are having a real hard time grasping this contract as far as maneuvering these pieces in and out of homes. There's a lot of claims. We're trying to save this account. We've had multiple meetings, and then someone suggested at the meeting maybe we should reach out to some moving companies, since moving companies do this every day. They're skilled on maneuvering larger items, and we're really trying to save this account. Somebody put a list of moving companies on my desk. Your company was at the top of the list based on your reviews. So you're the first person I called. Would you be interested in coming into the meeting and hearing more? So obviously I went in because you guys know I've talked about that account. Obviously I took the account. They called me. I didn't apply with them. So the money was excellent because it was a need there. Ultimately, they ended up losing the account nationwide. But, you know, me getting that call because I had a bunch of small wins with the moving put me in a position where a lane that I didn't know existed. I didn't know anything about fireman. I was focused on moving and moving only. But because I was focusing on a lot of small wins, and by me focusing on those small wins, it allowed me to really hone that skill and hone that lane and hone that business in that industry and perfect it and master it to the point where we were rated a perfect score on Yelp. To the point where a company of that magnitude would reach out and say, little old Mark's company, when there's bigger companies locally in Chicago, but Yelp was new. So not everybody was on there yet, right? That's where I talk about being an early adopter. Even though I didn't put us on, I didn't even know it existed, right? But because I focused on small wins, it allowed me to perfect that business. Because even though I had a big vision, I didn't ultimately shoot for the big vision. I focused on taking small steps that turned into small wins. And now those small steps that were turning into small wins started to slowly turn into bigger wins. That Dynamics account was huge for me. It allowed me to create a whole nother business that ultimately was what I had been looking for, because the moving business is a seasonal business. Now, even though you make a shit ton of money in moving, like prior to me getting that, I would make so much money in the summer, I could sit out the winter and have plenty of money. I'm talking about 5 figures money stacked, saved up, like 5 figures. Not in the minimum 5 figures. We talking about we was up there. You know, so, but I wanted something to carry over into the winter months, because I didn't want my guys, even though I had a lot of money put away, you know what I'm saying, I still had my guys to worry about. So ultimately I wanted something for them in the winter to carry them over. So this was a big win, because now this is all year long. And ultimately, this became that company that I formed for the Final Mile became the bigger company. It surpassed the moving company within the first year, to the point where I just say, you know what? I don't want to grow the moving company past 3 trucks. The moving company, I left it at 3 trucks. I was fine with that. I would run more than 3 trucks if we had special jobs that called for more than 3 trucks, but I only booked for 3 trucks because I'm running a multitude of trucks over here. And this is year-round money. That was a big win. You see what I'm saying? And then that big win turned into another big win within that company, right? With Office Depot. And that's allowing me to learn that business, that industry, that skill set, to the point now where I'm looking for other contracts and other companies in that lane. Select Express. Small win. That was a small win because it didn't provide me what Dynamics was providing. Dynamics was providing me whatever I wanted. I own that branch. Literally. They didn't like me. I had too many trucks. They had to pay me what I wanted. They didn't like me. The only black manager called me off the record and told me they didn't like me. The first opportunity they could get rid of me, they were going to get rid of me. I told you about them soliciting my drivers, the non-compete. But it was a big win. I knew it was eventually going to come to an end. That's why I made the most of it while we were there. And that big win allowed me to create other small little wins in that industry. Right? And all those small wins with those few big wins, small wins, small wins, small wins. Each time I got a small win, I got another truck. Another truck, another truck, small win, another truck, small win, 2 trucks. Mark, can you provide this more? Yeah, we could provide it. You going to give me the contract? Is it guaranteed? Okay, boom. I'm going to go get another truck. I'm going to get a truck just to cover that. Sometimes I would have to go rent. There's times when I was running more than 15 trucks. I'm just talking about my trucks. It was sometimes my yard would be 20 trucks deep. In the summertime, I would have to go rent additional trucks. I remember Select would call me for Lollapalooza. It was certain things we had to move, sound equipment and stuff like that, special projects. Select would say, man, we got this. We need this move for Lollapalooza. We got this contract. I would call up my rep. I need 4 26-footers for the week. So because I was focusing on small jobs, I was a go-to guy for a lot of companies because I could always come through in the clutch, which create bigger wins. And all those small wins ultimately created the vision that I had just a few years prior, right? Just a few years prior, which was a big vision. Those small wins compiled to ultimately big success, all right? I didn't jump from nothing, not even knowing how to move, not even knowing about final mile, straight to a 26-footer, trying to move 6-bedroom mansion. I would have probably killed myself. I would have threw my back out. I would have threw my shoulder out. I would have damaged some people's homes. I would have damaged a lot of furniture. It would have been a disaster. I didn't start moving big homes until a few years in. I focused on small jobs. Even when I was running 3 trucks for moving, before I even did Dynamics, before I even started buying trucks for Penske, the max we did was 2 bedrooms. I didn't really start touching 3 bedrooms until maybe 3 years in. Right? So small wins turned into big success. I would have failed if I would have jumped straight to, from not knowing anything, from nothing, straight to what my vision was. Let's talk about some examples for OTR. Let's use James. Shout out to James. If y'all remember James, I know he came on the channel a few weeks ago and gave us an update, and he's working for Amazon now. But if y'all remember James, we did a live. James did OTR. And James was somebody that me and Kirk took a liking to, right? We took a liking to him. And he would come into my lives every week. Every week. He would be in my lives every week. And not only would he be in the lives, he was the most vocal in the lives. Always asking questions. If anybody, James hands down has asked the most questions prior to actually going out and doing it. And that's why I took a liking to him, because he would be here. I was going live 3 times a week at that time. He would be here all 3 times a week, and he would ask questions. Some questions were not right, but some questions were. He was trying to get knowledge. So I'm like, man, this kid really wants to know this industry. I took a liking to him. I said, you know what? I'm gonna look out for you. All right. But then once I found out, ultimately he decided to go Final Mile. I called Kirk. I said, Kirk, I like this kid, man. This kid is always here. He asks questions. I think he might be a good candidate. But, and I'm not telling his business, because y'all know James was very vocal. He telling the chat, money wasn't all the way there. So I said, man, I don't want this kid to lose. He's working on limited resources as far as capital. So what I want to do is I want to pay you to coach him to success, because this is your thing. But he doesn't have it. So I'm going to pay you. Kirk ultimately said, no, Mark, for you, don't worry about it. Just give him my number. I said, you sure, Kirk? He said, Mark, for you, just give him my number. I gave him his number. Kirk and his wife set him up. They gave him a plan. They did his cost per mile. They gave him a radius. Now remember, he's OTR. Keyword, they gave him a radius. There's a reason why they gave him a radius, right? He's a novice, right? He too had a big vision, right? He had a big vision. The problem is he was thinking too big when he should have been thinking small, right? It's okay to have a big vision. Have your big vision, but think small. Focus on small wins. So what did he do? Even with the radius, the blueprint for success, he does what most people do. He goes on a load board. He sees a load from one end of the country to the other end of the country, and he sees a big number. Now, this number is big to him because, remember, he's a novice. So this big 3,700 was 3,000 something, 3,437. From New Jersey to California. That's one end of the country to the other. A very experienced run. Very experienced run. Novice, 1 weekend. Wasn't in the radius that was provided to him. He just saw a number, right? Because he was thinking big. And thinking big cost him. He should have been thinking small. The radius was a small, tight radius, mostly within the Midwest, where opportunity is plentiful, rates are good, and ultimately he would have succeeded. Kirk didn't build a plan for him to run an experienced run. To run from one end of the country to the other end of the country is an experienced run. That's not something that you do your first week in the business. You don't know what it's like to be out on the road. Yeah, Kirk did his cost per mile. You could do your cost per mile, but really understanding your cost per mile, you're not going to understand it just from seeing it on paper until you physically get out there and see how those numbers correlate with the math that you're putting together. He saw a big number, which really isn't a big number. It's a small number for actually what he was doing. And when he came on that live and he told us what he took, it upset me. And I told him on that live, and that live is up. What does Kirk say? History is best qualified when it's documented. So that live is the documentation. I said, this run is going to put you out of business. This run is going to kill you. When you make it back, if you make it back, your trucking career will be over with. My forecast is still 100%. He barely made it back. And when he made it back, he turned his truck in. One end of the country to the other end of the country, from that end of the country and back, killed him. Why? Because he wasn't experienced enough. He wasn't thinking small. A plan was designed for him, a small, tight-knit radius. He was thinking big. Now, if he would have followed the plan that was designed for him in a tight-knit radius, in a market where he could continuously win, I'm 99.9% sure he would still be running right now. But he was thinking too big instead of thinking small and focusing on small wins. A lot of influencers in the space, box truck content creators, right? When you look at their Instagrams and the way they portray this industry, right? And they, they include lifestyle with them promoting whatever it is they're selling, mentorships, coaching, courses, meet and greets, whatever it is, They portray it to you guys, the consumer, like this industry is going to provide riches and gold, right? And since my inception on YouTube, I've always said and stood by and proved that this is a small profit margin business, which it is. A lot of people get caught up with what they see from influencers trying to sell them a lifestyle, right? And then when they see these influencers and they see a portrayed lifestyle of a box truck content creator or influencer or whatever, a person who has aspirations or a desire or a vision or a goal to start a box truck business, they come in and they immediately want instant success at the top, right? They don't focus on small steps, right? They don't focus on small wins. James, example, saw big numbers. His eyes were big. Unfortunately, he failed because he didn't think small enough. I talk to people that are trying to pivot out of OTR, right? And come over to Final Mile, right? Everybody wants these trucks, these multitude of trucks. You don't even know how to run one. Mastering one truck is a small win. I watched a lot of people fail because they scaled out the gate or they scaled too fast. Because so-and-so told them that if they get a box truck, they'll make $1 million. Well, my friends, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. A box truck isn't going to make you a millionaire. It's not. Focus on small wins. to lead you to big wins. All right. Another thing that small wins does is it gives you momentum, right? And nothing builds momentum like a few small wins. A few small wins will ultimately give you momentum, right? So going back to my backstory, when I started, I told you earlier in the live my small wins, right? 1 truck, 2 Penske, 3 Penske. Those were 3 small wins. I had momentum at that point. There was positivity in the air. I had momentum, and I just kept stacking on those small wins, and then those small wins started to turn into bigger wins, ultimately to that big win. Another thing people don't have is belief. One thing momentum will give you ultimately as well is belief. You believe, but some people don't truly believe in themselves. They get frustrated and they get flustered at the first sign of a problem. And what do I always say on this channel? Being a business owner in any business, don't necessarily be box trucking. Most of your days, you're just going to be problem solving. So if you run into a problem early on in your business and you get flustered and you get frustrated and you want to throw in the towel, then good, throw in the towel. You should throw in the towel. Because if throwing in the towel is the first thought that comes to your mind, then you're not cut out to be a business owner. So yeah, I agree with you. Throw in the towel and go get a job or something. Because being a business owner daily, your day is going to be consumed with problem solving. Once you solve a problem, that equates and turns into a small win. When you solve a problem, it sharpens your skill set. It makes you a better business owner. It develops your skill set in that business. Being a business owner, daily, you're going to have problems. I say it all the time. You got to be a good problem solver. If you're not a good problem solver, you'll never be a good business owner. Small wins, compiling small wins will give you the momentum that will give you that strong belief factor that a lot of people need. And ultimately that'll lead you to big success. All right. I got a few more notes. All right. The purpose of small wins is not only to get you closer to your goal, but like I said, to develop your skill set, your belief system. I feel like everything that's happened within these past couple years with COVID, a lot of misinformation that has that's been given out. A lot of people have been led astray. I also think a lot of people necessarily don't believe in the industry anymore. That's why they say words like trash and things like that, and they're ready to throw in the towel. Because they were misled with misinformation, thinking that this industry was going to bring them riches and fame and glory or whatever. You can make a comfortable living in this business, right? You're going to have to work, right? Very hard. It's not easy. Another piece of misinformation. You're not going to come into this industry and just come in and take off running. It's 3 steps. Those small wins equate to 3 steps. You're going to come in, you're going to crawl. As you're crawling and you're learning and you're getting better and you're sharpening your skill set, you're going to eventually stand up and start walking. You're walking, you're getting better, and then you run. Small wins. I guarantee if some people that are listening that are not doing good with their box truck business, if they listen to this live, take this live, the information that I've given, the examples that I've given, and go back to the drawing board, look at their business, they'll see the mistakes that they're making on why they're not winning. Because they're focusing on big wins instead of small wins. I remember when I was 5 years old. 5, right? My mother, I took a school bus to school, right? I went to a magnet school, so I was bused, right? By my mom being a public school teacher, I got a chance to go to a magnet school, right? I got bused to another neighborhood outside of our neighborhood because we lived in the hood. So I got to go to school with people, public school, but it was in a neighborhood with more affluent kids, right? Mother pulled some strings by being a school teacher. She wanted me to have the best education, right? So that school was mostly Caucasian, but because it was a magnet school, Hispanic kids and small percentage of Hispanic kids, a small percentage of black kids from other communities would bust in. Now, on the way to that school, we had to cross a bridge, right? My OG was worried that, God forbid, if something ever happened to that bus and it rolled off that bridge, she wanted me to be able to swim to safety, right? So she enrolled me and my brother in swim lessons that summer going into kindergarten. I had never been swimming. Terrified of the water. Got to the pool, terrified of the water. I see this pool from 3 feet to 12 feet. I smell the chlorine. I'm terrified. Right? I don't know. I'm 5 years old. I felt like this is child abuse or something at that time. I don't know. You're forcing me to do something I don't want to do. I'm scared of this water. So the instructor the first day, I'd never forget it. It was one of those things that you remember, right? This is back before, I don't know if they had life vests back then, but we talking about 1985. So it's 1985. They had these the belt. We had to put this belt on. I put a flotation belt, not a vest. It was a belt. So you put the belt on, they strap it onto you, and they got like these styrofoam blocks that would keep you floating. The instructor the first day, he started me in the shallow end, obviously, 3 feet. I'm scared. I walked down in the pool. I don't know how tall I was, but at the most shallowest end, I was able to stand up. First day, nothing. Stand up in the water. I'll never forget it. Just do this. That's all he wanted me to do. Standing up, just doing this. Basically, what he was doing was getting me trained for the motion, right? Of doing this. I'm standing up doing this. That was what we did the whole session, right? The next day, or the next session, because I think we went it was the summertime. I don't remember. I know it was like twice a week. The next time, shallow end, he's standing there. He makes me lay horizontal in the water. He's holding me up. He wants me to do that. Why he's holding me up? But with me doing that, he tells me to kick my feet. So now I'm kicking my feet while I'm doing this. Now he's holding me. He's holding me. And as he's holding me, I'm doing this. I'm walking around. He's walking me around. The next session, get in the pool, shallow, 3 feet. He's holding me. I'm doing this. I'm kicking, but he's holding me. He's holding me. I don't know. He's not going to stop holding me. We get to about 4 feet or whatever, 3.5. He lets go. He said, I don't got you. You swimming. So I get nervous and start panicking. He grabs me, he holds me, building my confidence up. Next thing you know, I'm swimming. The next day, we go a little bit deeper. Now we in 4 feet. I'm kicking, I'm swimming, I'm kicking, I'm swimming. Now you can't stand up in 4 feet now. I probably was about 4 feet. I noticed my toes is just barely touching the bottom. But I'm swimming. So I know swim to the end, to either side, and then grab on, pull myself out, or swim to where I can stand up, 3 feet, whatever. Next day we go to 5. And that's as far as I took it by myself, right? The point is, I conquered 3 feet. It's a small win. I conquered 4 feet, small win. 5 feet, small win. The next time I came in, he said, we're going to do something different today. It's a rope. And halfway through the pool at 6 feet that goes from one end of 6 feet to the other end, divides shallow from the deep end. Said we're going in the deep end today. You can swim, but it's just more water. If you can swim in that water, you can swim in this. The difference is you're not going to walk in from the shallow end. You got to jump in. And when you jump in, you're going to sink all the way to the bottom. I was scared as hell. This is back when parents was really nice. Like if parents now has just pushed you, they'll just push you in the water. So probably 20 minutes of crying, and mama, she's sitting right there. I could see her face. Just jump. You're not gonna drown. But I could see the worry because I'm crying. So she's a mother. She feels sad for me, but she wants me to swim. So 20 minutes of crying. Eventually I jump. I'm panicking because I jump in. It's my first time. I sink all the way down. Come up. He grabbed me. Swim. I hit her. Swim. I'm crying. So he grabbed me. He hold me. Puts me back into that position where he got his hands under me. Now remember, he's swimming and I'm swimming and just getting me conditioned, training me, getting me used to that deep water, getting me used to that. It's different from the shallow. I could just walk from the shallow and then start swimming to 5 feet and swim back. Ain't none of that. The next day, I cried, but I didn't cry for 20 minutes. I cried for about 10 minutes and jumped in. Next thing I know, I'm swimming. 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet. Another small win. Now, all the way at 12 feet, you got two diving boards. You got a short diving board, then you got another diving board that's way up here. I don't know, maybe 12, 13. I don't know how many feet, but it's way up there. So I'm like, skipping. I'm jumping in 10, 11 feet. I'm going all the way down to the bottom now, touching the floor, doing the percolator or whatever the dance was, the cabbage patch at the bottom of the pool coming up. I'm thinking I'm cold. I'm 5. I'm a little guy swimming in deep water. All right. I want to jump off the diving board. But I was scared because I thought jumping off the diving board was going to be something different. Which really is the same. Once you know how to swim, you know how to swim. Point is, eventually, I was able to jump off the short diving board. Long story short, once I conquered the fear of that, I jumped off the tall diving board. I was jumping off the diving board doing cannonballs, dropping my weight so I could sink all the way to the bottom. The point is, from 3 feet to 12 feet, each foot was a small win. I didn't go straight to 12 feet. I would have died. If I would have just jumped in the water at 12 feet, not knowing how to swim. Same thing with business. The reason why a lot of people can't win is because they jump in the deep end. And this ain't a story to just correlate with what I'm talking about. This is a true story. You know what I'm saying? When I put my lives together and I come up with my topics, I try to correlate and relate the topics to my real life situations, because what type of person would I be if I didn't go through the shit that I'm educating and training and teaching and talking about. So I try to think of real life situations, right? So this is a real story. So people fail because they try to jump into the deep end right away instead of focusing on those small wins. Those small wins will lead to a big win. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 feet. Each one of those feet was a big win that led to me jumping off that highest diving board. I didn't just jump in the deep end the first day at the pool. I didn't jump from nothing to a bunch of trucks and a warehouse. I would have failed. I didn't even jump from nothing to a 26-foot box truck. I would have failed because I would have been looking for jobs that were big, taking big jobs, not knowing how to price them, not knowing how to maneuver things. I started with a small truck. I got a truck a little bit bigger. Then I got more trucks that size. And then ultimately I got bigger trucks and mixed those in. I've always thought small and took baby steps and conquered small wins. And my small wins have always led me to success. Let's do another example. Let's take this YouTube channel. Even though I do a lot of pro bono stuff, not like everybody else. I don't charge y'all for nothing. I do this from the kindness of my heart. But I still built out the channel. From people that have been around for a while, channel started out like anybody else's channel with no subscribers. YouTube says it takes about 3 years to get 1,000 subscribers for a person who's really working hard. That's what YouTube says, right? A lot of people start YouTube channels and they ultimately abandon them. Why? Because it's not growing fast enough, right? My channel started out slow. Now, granted, yes, my channel has been very successful, obviously, compared to YouTube's, their stats as far as what number the average YouTube channel looks like after a year. I've done exceptionally well. They said 3 years to get to 1,000. I'm pushing 14,000 in 14 months. So I'm a little over a year and I'm at 14,000 subscribers. So channel was done well, but I took baby steps. I came in, I shot a video. I shot another video. I started researching YouTube. I saw a void in my expertise lane. I started focusing on that void. I saw a problem. I created a solution. I saw another problem. I created a solution. I said, I want to make the channel better. I invested money into making it better. I'm constantly making it better. I focus on small wins. Video. Conquer video. Problems. Focus on solving problems. Conquer that. Nobody's forecasting. Okay, I'm a good forecaster. Let me start introducing that so I can prepare people for what's about to come. Nobody's doing it because they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. But Marky Mark knows. So I did that. I said the industry is shifting. People are losing interest. What can I do to keep interest in the space, in the culture, online for box truck? All right, let's create a podcast. That way we can talk about a multitude of topics related to trucking. And I can still do the educational thing on the side. I went and got Axel. I went and got Kurt. Axel didn't work out. Me being the business person I am, I had to make a decision to remove him from the show. I built a channel to success by focusing on small wins. See, me, I know I'll never make 1 million subscribers. That's not even my goal. My goal on this channel is to help people become successful, and people who are in the business that aren't successful, help coach them to turn their business around so that they can be successful. So alongside of the small wins of building the channel, each time you see a person come into my DM, leave a comment, come into this live in the chat and thank me. When I did the call-in show, call in and thank me. Each person that says I've helped them and I've changed their business, they were failing, but listen to me, they were able to change their business. Each one of those people are small wins. And because I've been able to help so many people, each of those small wins has led to a big win as far as the channel is concerned. So even with this channel, this method still applies. I use this method for every single thing I touch. Anything I put my hands on, I invest my money into, I focus on small wins. Stock market, crypto market, I dollar cost average. I don't day trade. I dollar cost average. I let the money sit and accrue, and go from there. And eventually it'll become a small win in a matter of time, over time. So small wins, guys. I think a lot of people need to focus on small wins. Stop thinking big, think small, dream big. Stop thinking big, think small, dream big, have big visions, have big goals, have big aspirations, but focus on thinking small, focus on small wins. Let those small wins compile into big success. All right. That's the presentation. Oh, man. That took a lot out of me tonight, guys. I ain't finna lie to y'all. That presentation took a lot out of me. I had to freestyle it because I didn't get a chance to do my PowerPoint. All right, so I'm going to answer some questions, and then I'm going to get out of here. So far, the poll got 85 votes. 25% for one truck, 47 1 to 5, 8% 6 to 10, 20% 11 trucks. That 20% for 11 trucks, that's a lot of work. Make sure you can run one truck. If you're voted for 11 plus trucks and you're struggling with one truck, you should change your vote. Matter of fact, anybody that is struggling that voted for anything but one truck should change their vote. Okay? You got to focus on one thing, small wins, small wins. That was the point of the live. Small wins, compiling small wins. Small wins. I had a buddy. Let me tell you another story. I got a buddy. We ain't cool no more. We fell out over a business deal that I didn't pull out. Did I pull out? I think we both pulled out. But anyway, we fell out over a business deal. Good buddy of mine, we fell out over a business deal. It was a real estate deal, but we fell out. Anyway, he opened up a fish market in the hood, and he had a big idea of doing live fresh fish, So, you have some fish markets where you got the big tanks with the fish, and you could pick your fish, and then they'll cut the head off and clean it and cut it up for you and all that stuff, right? So this was his idea. Great idea, just wrong market. The hood don't care nothing about live fish. They don't care about that. I said, man, listen. You putting these big tanks in here. You got 4 big tanks in here. Big tanks. He had to have these tanks custom made. Not like glass fish tank. These are like big concrete floor model. These tanks were probably about 8 feet long, maybe about 3 feet wide. It was 4 of them. I said, man, the hood don't care about this. I said, this is going to be a good aesthetic for grand opening for them first few weeks, because this is going to be new to the community, and then eventually ain't nobody going to care about it. I said, the real estate that you're taking up in the store, this floor space that these tanks are taking up, you need to turn these into grocery houses. You need to sell grocery. It's the hood. They getting link EBT. You gonna make a killing off the grocery. When they come in, you just do your deli fish at the deli, and then all this space need to be grocery. Man, you don't know what you talking about, man. Just stick to trucks. You good at trucks. Trucks is your lane. Let me do this. You don't know what you talking about. This don't exist over here. They're gonna love it. They only see this up north or in the meat packing district. So when they come in, they see the live fish and the experience, bro. It's not gonna work in the hood. The hood don't care about experience, bro. They don't care about experience. These tanks is taking up too much real estate in this store. This could be grocery. You could turn this into 3 hours of grocery. So when they come in and they go to the deli and they say, man, they want a pound of catfish or whatever, some perch, some chicken wings, whatever, they can come get their seasoning in this aisle. They can get their lemon pepper. They can get their foil. They can get their pepper. They Old Bay. He did it his way. And sure enough, it failed. He's still in business. It didn't fail to the point where he's out of business. It failed to the point that he had to restructure the plan into what I told him initially. So he had to remove all those tanks. He had to have somebody come in and remove them. These tanks are heavy. They're made out of concrete, about 8 feet, like I said, long, about 3 feet wide, 4 of them. They had to destroy those to move them out because the store is already up and operational. You can't take them out the door. So he had to destroy them in the store, take them out in pieces, right? And then he brought in grocery. And now it's doing great. The point of that is he thought big. Too big for that market when he should have thought small. He wanted a big, elaborate place and a market and a consumer that big idea was just too big for. Instead of focus on the small, simple win from the beginning, letting that success lead to another store, maybe in another community that would have appreciated or maybe are more into experience-based food shopping. So that's another experience on thinking small or not thinking too big. You know, building those tanks was a lot of money. It ultimately became a waste of money. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, man, I'm going to do some questions and then I'm going to get out of here. You know, let's see. James, what up, James? James, what up? Let me get rid of this banner. James, appreciate your knowledge and dedication to helping others. Got even more for you. Thank you, James. Thank you, James. Dropping a bomb. What is Camilo talking? I got myself a Sterling, a Terra 26-foot Mercedes-Benz B9. Yeah, man, hopefully get something. You got you a Sterling? I mean, we had a British Sterling back in 92. Sterling made a car. It was the British Sterling. We had that back in 92. You got a Sterling truck. They still make trucks, though. Come here, I'm starting my business. I want to start the business with a cheaper truck and try the business first. Okay. Shop around. Sterling, listen, I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. It ain't too many Sterlings around, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, if you already bought it, then, God bless you. Me personally, I would probably get a Freightliner or a Hino. I wouldn't, if you bought it, cool. Me personally, I wouldn't fool with a Sterling. That's me personally. And that's from having a Sterling back in the day. I don't know what the trucks is like, but you don't see a lot of Sterlings on the road. It's probably people in this lab that don't even know what a Sterling is. So, I know what a Sterling is, but I guarantee you there's people in this lab that don't even know what a Sterling is. So it's not many of them around. And for that reason, if you haven't bought it already, my advice would probably be to look for something else. But do what you want. You know what I'm saying? I can only just give you what I would do. You know. Let me see. JD, I started watching 3 months ago. It helped me make it plan. You're awesome. Appreciate you. You got me thinking I should learn how to swim. I think everybody should learn how to swim. You never know what might happen. People are cruel. You could be, I'm in Chicago, so we got, Lake Michigan. You could be walking down Michigan Avenue. You got to cross over the Chicago River. Somebody might push you off the bridge. I don't know. You never know what may happen. My OG always thought the school bus was going to land in the lake and she wanted me to swim to safety. That was her whole purpose of forcing us to take these swimming lessons at such a young age. I don't regret it. You know what I'm saying? She was doing what she thought was best. I think everybody should know how to swim. You never know what may happen. Swimming, you need to learn how to swim. I was trying to come home every night or every other night and lost money along with taking cheap rates. Yeah, Daniel, I don't know if you seen my live from Tuesday nights. That was something I was focusing on. I talked about over the road and how over the road means over the road. I talked about that the other night, so I'm not going to really get deep dive into it. I will go watch that live, but just real quick to touch on it, for those that didn't see that live, a lot of people get into this business because they saw a lot of these influencers, really big this industry up, but not really. They bigged it up with a lifestyle, right, and a certain portrayal. And then a lot of people got into this industry. They wanted to do over the road. Obviously, a lot of people don't want to do final mile at that time because of the workload. They just, they want to get in OTR, go from dock to dock. But it's over the road. You're not going to make money if you're trying to come home every week. You say you're trying to come home every other night. You ain't going to make money if you're trying to come home every week. It's called over the road for a reason because it's over the road. It's designed to be over the road. It's not designed to be at home. That's why it's not called home the road. It's not called HTR home the road or HTR at home the road. It's called over the road because in order to really be successful, you have to be over the road for a multitude of weeks, and that's ultimately another reason why a lot of people failed in that lane, because people don't want to be out on the road. They worried about what Boo Bay doing and who Boo Bay with. And like I said, if you're going to do this over the road thing, you in a relationship, it's a possibility that Boo Bay might cheat on you. So you have to make that decision on, what's more important. You going to go chase that bag, or you going to worry about what your girl or what your guy back at the crib doing? You going to chase butt, or you going to chase the bag? Me, I always chase the bag. I don't chase butt. I lost relationships for chasing the bag. No kids because I'm chasing the bag. The years I could have been building a family, I was building a business, focusing on small wins, getting to the bag. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, over the road means over the road. Got to be out over the road, can't be home. If you want to be home often, then OTR shouldn't be for you. It shouldn't be for you. You got to find something else to do with that box truck. If y'all, whoever's listening, they thinking over the road is what they want to do, but they want to be home every other day or every other week. But hit the like button though. Hit the like button. We got 90 votes and only 55 likes. So 90 people voted, but only 55 people hit the like button. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. 5-star said that sounds like a shotgun and not a bomb. Let's see. I got a shotgun. No, that's a machine gun. That's the shotgun loading up for you. I'm going to load up the shotgun anytime a hater come. I'm going to load it up. I ain't going to let it go, though, unless they get real out of hand. And then we'll let it go. Then we'll let it go. All right, let me see any more questions. But shout out to you, Camilo, man. Just make the right decision. That Sterling, man, and I know what I'm talking about because, like I said, a lot of people probably don't know what a Sterling is. So I'm familiar with Sterling. So, just think wisely, make a wise decision. D. Jenkins says, I think people should run Amazon Relay with their car or something like that before scaling big. So you talking about Amazon Flex with their car. Dano says his focus is final mile when he comes in. Shout out to Pippi. Sexy B Trucking. I am happy I've been able to catch your lives. It's just so much valuable information and good conversation. Shout out to Sexy B Trucking. Shout out to Sexy B Trucking. Daniel, what up? 5-star Logistics says, I am not 100% certain, but I don't think T-Force messing with Progressive. I'm not familiar with Canal. Doesn't hurt to ask T-Force rap if they... Oh, you must be talking to somebody in the chat. Yeah, talking to them. Hey, all in one. Ain't you doing T-Force? Somebody, aren't you doing T-Force getting $57 a stop? All right, let me answer this question for Mike. Because Mike spammed the question. What's an NAICS code does box truck business follow? It depends. It depends. But this is a question that Google will not let you down. So go to Google, type in what's the NAICS code for trucking, and put your state. And then you shall receive your answer. Okay, that's a question. Look at this. Hold on, y'all. You see, like certain things, it's just easy answers. The answers are just easy. You just Google it. That's it. Now, this might not be your code, but Google your state. Hey, you'll get the code, man. This probably is your code. Probably is your code. All right. Man, ask me 50 million times. And Google with a guy, he probably ain't even in here no more. I probably snapped on him. He got mad. I don't know. He must don't come in here a lot. Man, the first comment, he just kept going. Like, bro, like, Google could have been answered that question for you. All right, man. Any questions tonight? A few people DM me, asked me when I was going live again. I told them tonight. So tonight, if you got your questions, go ahead and let me know so I can answer them. Then we gonna get up out of here. You know, I was supposed to. My homies invited me out tonight, man. They out kicking it right now. I turned them down. I kind of wanted to go too, but I had to do this live. So ask your questions, make it worth your while or whatever. Is it more money in box truck or 18 wheeler? It's more money in 18 wheeler. Rates are. You can make more money because you can get better rates. You can haul more freight. Tareen says yellow LTL folding. You saying yellow gonna fold by August without money from the Teamsters? Daniel said he saw the live. I'm not going out with a box truck. It has to be a semi. Yeah, I heard you was in CDL school. I heard it through the grapevine. You was in CDL school. No, I ain't going out, Pippi. I'm chilling. After I get off this live, I'm gonna turn it in for the night. Nah, it is still early, but I ain't going out. I'm in. I ain't finna. Like that presentation when I told y'all, man, that took a lot out of me. It drained me. It did. You know, usually when I do a live, I want it to be perfect. I put a lot of, effort into it. And when I do these presentations, like talking, for some reason, talking just drains me for some reason. Like, because I guess I'm talking, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next and trying to hit points and things like that. So it just mentally drains me. So I'm washed right now. Then I'm sitting under all these lights, and then I turn the AC down. Pretty much I turn it off when I'm doing these lives because in this office space, because I live in a loft, the ceilings are high, and in this room the duct is overhead, so just the air blowing, I don't want that noise to get into the mic and hear it in the background. So I turn the AC off so I'm a little bit hot, and the lights are making me hotter, and it's just draining me. But like I said, I'm here to answer questions. I'm committed to doing these lives. So trust me, if I'm not going to do a day, I'm not going to cut it off last minute. I will give you warning, like, look, I'm not going to be on Thursday. I got something to do, like I've done before. I'm not just going to say, you know what, homie's going out, I ain't going live tonight, without giving people warning. I'm just not like that. I wouldn't do that. Miguel Cruz, love the info you put out to us. Let's say I get a Chevy Express or 4 Econoline, go to a final mile company. Would there be any negotiating rate per stop? It depends on the company. It ultimately depends on the company. Most companies nowadays are kind of firm. Usually you can get some negotiating if you're coming in with some form of leverage. And leverage is a multitude of vehicles. So if you're coming in with one vehicle, you're just like everybody else. So it may be a take it or leave it. Some logistics companies do offer some flexibility. But for the most part, the rate is the rate. I agree with 5-Star Logistics. I think if you're fresh out of school, my suggestion would be to go work for a company. My suggestion would be work for a company. I think that's a great example of a small step. Even though you're working for a company, you're learning on the company's dime. School CDL school is an express crash course. Yeah, you got to study. Yeah, you got to pass the test. But ultimately, what hones a skill is hands-on experience, and then over time, you'll get better and better and better and better and better. Now, if you go to CDL school and you got the capital to buy you a truck and fresh out of CDL school, you want to go work for yourself, you're gonna all those errors that you're gonna make being a novice in this industry is gonna be on your dime. You're gonna be on your dime. So, me personally, I think going to work for someone else for a little while, maybe a year, 6 months to a year, preferably a year, sharpening your skill set. I think that is a small win that's going to lead to a big win. I think it shows that, as a business person, even though you have a business mind and you ultimately have the aspirations to become an entrepreneur, you're humble enough to accept a job to hone your skill set so that you can become your own owner operator. A lot of people, they just have this boss mentality, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like, you got to sharpen your skill set, and your best way to sharpen your skill set is by doing the work, but making smaller goals so you can ultimately get smaller wins to give you that momentum to win big. So I agree with 5-star. You kind of want to go to a company out of CDL school and work there for a year, and build your skill set up there, so that way you're not doing it on your own dime. And if there is, what would it be more or less be for a small cargo van? I think I answered that question. Miguel, for a cargo van, you're not going to get as much as a box truck. And with a cargo van, the average, depending on what you're doing, you could, if it's dedicated, you'll be making somewhere between, on average, $200 to maybe $425 a day per route, depending on what the route is, what you're moving, whether it's like office supplies or medical equipment, what market you're in, the volume, because a lot of these cargo van routes, they pay per piece. All right, they pay on a piece count basis. So the volume has to be there so you can have the pieces in order to increase your pay. So in those cases, most of the times, 9 times out of 10, on a per piece pay rate, is really no negotiation. The per piece pay rate contracts that I've ran in the past, I was able to get a guarantee, but I was providing a multitude of vehicles. If you don't have the leverage to kind of name your price, then you're going to have to roll with whatever it is that they're offering. Some companies will allow you to negotiate, but most don't. And the reason why most don't, unless you have that leverage, is because if it's a contract, let's say you run in Staples, and it's, let's say, 20 routes in that warehouse for Staples, and you're loading in dock 20 every day, and dock 19 is another guy, and you guys just talk every morning as you're loading your truck, and he's making $2 a piece, and you negotiate $2.25 a piece, and you tell him you making $2.25 and he's making $2. What you think he's gonna do before he pulls off that dock? He's gonna go complain. That's why a lot of these logistics companies keep the rates consistent. Now, a person who has leverage, yeah, okay, well, man, yeah, I heard Mark, his truck's getting a guarantee. Well, man, Mark got 10 trucks in here. Remember when you didn't show up last Monday? Who you think ran your route? We asked Mark, could he send another truck? And Mark sent another truck to cover your route. So that's why Mark gets a guarantee. Now you bring in more trucks, and we have a multitude of work that we can provide you. Then we can talk. But you and your one little van gonna get $2 per piece, like everybody else. And that's why they do that, so that they're, because people don't know how to keep their mouth closed. They don't want this person making $2, this person making $2.25, this person making $2.50, because it's not going to be a productive warehouse. Everybody's going to be complaining and asking for more money and staging walkouts and not showing up to work, so they keep the rate consistent. All right. Have you ever owned semis? No, sir. Never owned semis. Do you know if 300,000 insurance holds the same time weight as 1 million as far as authority from van to CDL is referenced? So, what you 300,000? You talking about for what? General liability, commercial auto? What are you talking about? Cargo? Yo, what up, Mark? Good presentation tonight. I stopped focusing on big moving jobs, started focusing more on the small moving jobs with my van. Start small, the big will come later. Shout out to Big Zoe. Shout out to Big Zoe. Big Zoe was here last week. Big Zoe was here last week. Shout out to Big Zoe. Big Zoe was here last week, and I was really impressed by this young man. 25 years old. I think he said he got a 6-year-old. And I believe he said a 1-year-old or an infant, an infant, 1-year-old, and a wife. So he's a guy with a young family, young man with a young family that called into the call-in show. And I was very impressed with the way he spoke. I was very impressed with the information that he's taken from me. And mind you, this young man has never did a consultation, never booked a coaching session. He's listened to my lives, my videos. He threw things out there that let me know. He talked about, man, I heard you say this about the 99 couch delivery. And I think he said that he was having a rough time, but once he found my channel, he started listening to me. He was able to transform his business and turn it around. That's a small win for me. But I was impressed by his mindset at such a young age, because a lot of people at 25, their mindset isn't there. And what impressed me the most was the sacrifice, because this is what I was talking about the other day. Young man with a young family. He has a dedicated route during the week, Monday through Friday. He does moving jobs on the weekend. He's away from his family. He's sacrificing time with his family to compile a bunch of small wins so that he can ultimately get the big win later. And like I said in another live stream, and I yanked it out and put it into a short, it gets greater later. All right. But you have to compile a bunch of small wins. And, that mindset when he was talking about how he's working 7 days, and man, he listened to me. He started doing the move, and he took the blueprint that I laid out in the live streams, and it's working for him. And he got all this from free live streams. So, proof is in the pudding. You got to listen. This is a young man. So I salute him. I salute him. You know what I'm saying? 7 days a week, young family, sacrificing. That's what it takes to really get to that goal. And a lot of people ain't willing to make that sacrifice. You OTR, you got to be over that road. You want to be local, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. You're going to have to touch some stuff. You're going to have to lift some stuff. You're going to have to move some stuff. You're going to be more physically tired. So salute to Big Zo, man. I really enjoyed that conversation. You really impressed me last week. Keep up the good work. Keep working hard. You young. You know, if you do this and your business continues to grow, in 10 years at 35, man, you'll be way, way on your way, man. This little sacrifice at the beginning will turn into a beautiful thing later on where you'll have time and your money will be working for you instead of you working to get the money. That's the ultimate goal. You want to get to a point where your money is working for you. You got to look at your money like little soldiers. You know, each dollar is a soldier, you know. And the more money you make, you just send that money back out into the field to recruit more soldiers. And then those soldiers are going to come back with their recruitments, those dollars, and then you're going to send them back out to recruit more soldiers. So now your money is working for you. So I salute you, man. Keep up the good work. Keep making those sacrifices for the ultimate big goal later on, man. Hey, bro, what's your thoughts on the electronic dolly? My thoughts on the electronic dolly is I wouldn't buy one. I've never bought one. I wouldn't invest the money into that. I think for moving, I think it would be a waste of money. Now, if you were running, let's say, a specialized moving company, like focusing specifically on safes and pianos, right? Because they're a specialized moving company, all they move is safes and pianos. If you're running a specialized moving company, safes and pianos, I think it would be a good investment because you're going to run into stairs. You're going to run into safes of all different shapes and sizes. You're going to run into pianos of all different shapes and sizes, and not everybody's going on the ground level. Some people want safes in their basement. Some people want safes, I don't know why, on the floor upstairs. I don't know. But even going downstairs or coming into a building, having to go upstairs, if you're in a specialized moving business where you're focusing specifically with safes and pianos, I think an electric dolly would be a great investment because you're already charging a premium. You know, safe movers and piano movers, those companies that just focus on safes and pianos, you think paying for movers to move your household goods is expensive? Call a piano a safe mover and get a quote from them just to move one safe or one piano. You want to really make some bread? Become a piano or a safe mover. But everybody ain't cut out for that though. That's some. But yeah, in that case, yeah. But traditional household moving, no. And the reason why no in traditional household moving is because it's less efficient. It's quicker to strap things or use a regular dolly. When you're dealing with an electric dolly, you got to set it up. You got to set it up at the stair. Like, it's a process that goes into it. And when you're moving a household goods and you're on the clock and you got a multitude of different things coming either out or coming in, you need to be more efficient. And setting this thing up for certain items is just too time consuming. But for a safe or a piano moving where you're charging a high premium anyway because you're dealing with a really, really heavy item, that customer is already going in. They know they're finna pay. You got a grand piano, a Baldwin grand piano that's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, it's nothing to pay a couple $1,000s to have it moved down the street. Did he say a couple $1,000s to have it moved down the street? Yeah. Yeah. Because when you coming in moving a grand piano, see, I know how to move them. I just don't. You got to break the thing down. You got to know how to break a piano down. Take the keys out, take the legs off. Like, you have to really break it down, and then you got to put it back together. You got to wrap it. So, yeah, for that, yeah, I would get a dolly. For a regular household goods moving, no. I have a contract with a final mile company. I'm looking to get some more drivers, but I'm not sure about what the rate should be per day per hour drive. What do you recommend? It depends. That depends on your market. Depends on your contract. What market are you in? What is the contract paying? You know, what is the contract paying? Where do you live? What's your market? That varies, market to market. Cost of living is different in certain markets. What I would pay a person here in Chicago, I could probably pay a person in Alabama less. What I would pay a person in Montana, I probably wouldn't. I'm not going to be able to pay a person in Chicago or New York that rate. What the logistics company is paying in Montana or Alabama is going to be less than what the logistics company for that same account would be paying in Chicago or New York. Why? Because the market is different. So I can't answer that question without knowing the market, knowing the contract. All right, let me see what other question was. How or what is a good amount to put away for truck maintenance, percentage or certain money amount weekly? All right, so this is a question that I've never had a maintenance account. Reason why I've never had a maintenance account, when I say a maintenance account, like an account just for maintenance, because I've always been good with managing money. My business has always had cash flow. If your business has cash flow and you're good with cash flow, you don't have to set a separate pot aside for maintenance. People that have to set a separate pot aside for maintenance aren't people that aren't good with cash flow, or people that don't know how to manage their books. So if you're making a certain amount of money a week after all your expenses, and your expenses include paying yourself, paying Uncle Sam. If anything you should have an account for is a tax account. You're making sure you're taking, I say take 33% and set it to the side for Uncle Sam. Now, if you're not good with managing money, that I would put to the side, if anything. Paying Uncle Sam. Now, what's left over after all expenses are paid, you got your tax money set to the side, you paid yourself, everything is paid. What's left is your cash flow. And every week you should be accumulating cash flow. And as your cash flow accumulates, when something arises, like the truck breaks down, you just pay out of your cash flow to get it fixed. Your business should have cash flow. The cash flow is what keeps your business, what sustains your business. A lot of people rob from the sustainability of their business because they don't understand cash flow. They pay themselves with, after all the expenses are paid, what's left is, they think that's what they're owed, and that's not true. You have to pay yourself something, and then the business needs cash flow in order to operate, in order to sustain. So the cash flow is what will ultimately be used for whatever the business needs later on down the line, whether it's brake job, whether it's you got to buy some gloves, whether it's you got to get a tire, whether it's you got to buy registration, your sticker, your plate sticker, whatever. That's where the cash flow, your business should have cash flow. So me answering that question, I'm not going to say no percent, no certain percent, because you should really be focusing on cash flow. If your business is accumulating cash flow, then whatever arises should be in the business bank account for you to get it fixed. I've never personally said, well, let me put 10% aside for maintenance, because I've always had cash flow. So that's my answer. That's the correct answer to answer the question. So I can't say, well, 10% or 20%, because I don't think it's, I wouldn't set make an account just for maintenance. I would just make sure I focus on cash flow. So Figure out what, after all expenses are paid, before you pay yourself, see what's left. Pay yourself a percentage of what's left. That goes into expenses. Now take Uncle Sam's money. I say 33% of what's left. Put that separate. I will put that separate. And then after you take Uncle Sam's money, now what's left is cash flow. And that accumulates, like I said, and whatever the business needs, you should pay it out of that. For any CDL drivers that want some experience on different vehicles, Penske truck leasing position car. Yeah. You can negotiate more when you have, more to give, when you have some type of leverage. If you don't have leverage, it's just like any business dealing. Your negotiation, whether negotiation is going to lead more in your favor or not, depends on how much leverage you have. You see what I'm saying? Take these NBA players for instance. The guys that get the max pay, max contracts, those guys have leverage. Why? Because they perform throughout the season for a multitude of years, that when it's time to do their contract, if they're good enough and they're a max player, they can get a max contract, hands down. You know what I'm saying? But if they haven't hit certain milestones and certain that the NBA puts, as far as like first team, second team, third team, all that stuff, like Ja Morant, he wasn't able to get that 230. Then he only going to get 180 because he didn't make first team. I think he made like second or third team, or if he made it all. But that milestone he had to hit, he had to make first team in order to get that max 230. And he didn't hit it because he out here acting like a goddamn fool. So he didn't get the vote. So now he only going to get 180. You see what I'm saying? He lost his leverage by acting like a goddamn fool. Whereas you got a guy like, I don't know, like Kyrie, or let's say KD, guys like that, they get max contracts, right? Because they've shown improved throughout the season. So they got leverage going into negotiation to get a max contract. Same thing in any business, box truck business, cargo van business. If they have a set rate that's everybody's taking, all the independent owner operators are taking because that's what's offered, everybody gets that. The person who has leverage, a multitude of vehicles, yeah, they have leverage and so they have bargaining power. And most of the time, if you have a multitude of vehicle and they're asking you to bring a multitude of vehicle in, that's letting you know that there's a shortage. So they need you. They need a multitude of vehicles. So you have that leverage as well. So yeah, you got to have leverage in order to negotiate. That's any business deal, any business negotiation. The deal is going to lean more towards the individual or the business that's negotiating and that deal that has more leverage. What do 3PLs look for when you contact them, and what to focus on when presenting yourself? So I'm going to be honest with you. 3PLs want to make sure you got your authority, your insurance, and everything is on the up and up as far as your credentials. All right. After that, whoever you're going to run, if you're going to run, you got a helper, you and a helper, or you got two other people that are going to run, everybody got to get background checked. So if you're not going to be on the truck, you got two people, you got to get background check as the owner, and then your workers got to get background check. If you're going to be on the truck with a helper, then y'all got to get background check. So the owner and all the workers got to get background check. So they're looking for credentials, authority, making sure your authority is up to date and active, make sure your insurance is up to date and active, make sure the background meets their compliance. Other than that, that's pretty much it. They're going to ask you, do you have experience? Most time people don't have experience. They lie and say yeah, and then they're gonna put you out there to the wolves. And if you mess something up, you gonna pay for it. It's gonna be a claim. That's how it goes. It's not really rocket science. It's not like something you got to interview for. If you got a truck, you got authority, you got insurance, and you pass their background requirements, you pretty much in there like swimwear. It's like no interview or nothing like that. They're going to train you. They're going to ask you. They're going to pretty much throw you to the wolves, and it's on you. So the training is pretty much up to you. That's something that you going to pretty much have to do on your own. It's really just as simple as that. So as long as you got all your ducks in a row, your credentials, your authority, your insurance, you can pass a background. That's pretty much all they're looking for. In regards to recruiting drivers, you prefer using Indeed like companies to find drivers or ground routes campaigns? So I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first got started, a lot of guys that worked for me in the early days were neighborhood guys and referrals from people that was already in. I really didn't have to do no searching. But this is the olden days before gig work, before immigration was the way it is now. So, it was a different thing back then. Now you're gonna have to use Indeed. You're gonna have to use Indeed. If you're gonna hire, certain ethnicities of people, you need to make sure that they're legal. Right? You don't want to get caught up with illegal people running for you. So it's a little bit more work you got to do now. I would do Indeed. Make sure you do extensive background checks. Make sure they're legal. You're going to have to invest some money into that, you know what I'm saying? The background checks and all that. So it's a little bit more stringent now as far as hiring. Then also you got to make sure your ad, list that you're going to be paying handsomely. Like, people want to get paid now. All right. People want to get paid, and people really ain't trying to do this type of work. It's one group of people that you're going to get to do this type of work now. All right. And I'm not going to go into it. If you know, you know. So, and you need to make sure you're paying handsomely if you want to keep them, because even though they'll come and work for you, they're very fair weather. And ultimately, you need to know that the whole time that they're working for you, they're learning the business, and eventually they're going to go off and do it on their own. So just be prepared. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. 300K is Texas DOT liability auto minimum. Was wondering with that 300K authority aging. Okay, so if that's the Texas auto liability, my next question is to you is, are you going to remain in Texas, or do you plan on crossing state lines? Are you crossing state lines, or are you going to stay in Texas? What are you doing? All right, because if you're crossing state lines, then that US Tex that TX DOT, that's good for Texas. Like here, see, so Texas so for what he's asking y'all is Texas. Some states have their own regulations, parallel to the federal regulations. So we have it here too. I'm familiar with Texas regulations because I actually got pulled over in Texas many, many years ago. And they have their own people like we have our own people. So the TX DOT down there, and then here we got the ICC, which is the Illinois Commerce Commission. So if you run an interstate down there, then you could deal with the minimum of the the TX DOT, right? Just like here, if you running locally, you don't plan on crossing state lines, you could just do the ICC and be fine with whatever the minimum is. Now, that's only if whatever company you're contracting. Now, here's the thing. If the company you're contracting requirements are higher than the state minimum, then you have to meet the requirements of the contract. So if Texas minimum is 300 instead of $1 million, but you go to T-Force and they say they want $1 million, you got to get the $1 million. So that it doesn't really matter if what you're asking, wondering what that 300K authority agent count after transition to box truck. Yeah, so now if you're asking your authority is your authority. If you run on the same authority from box trucks to, hold on, for one of that 300K. So what are you running, a cargo van now? Cargo was 300. What are you running, a cargo van? Agent count after transition into the box truck. So I guess you run a cargo van if you transition to a box truck. Yeah, so your authority is your authority from the moment your authority start. It's just constantly aging. Yeah. So just because you switching insurance don't start the aging over again. Nah. Your question is kind of confusing. But I think I answered it right. This is Hibachi Reed, bro. I DM a couple days ago. You responded. I appreciate that, bro. I'm going to look to specialized moving. Sounds like the type of work I'm looking. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Specialized moving is tough. It's tough. You know, pianos are some pianos are very, 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 very pricey. So make sure you got the right insurance. Make sure you got the right guys. You can't have no weaklings. You got to have people that are trained. Professionally trained. You got to know how to. You gonna have to buy some masonite. You're gonna have to like really train yourself and then train people how to break a piano down. Even safes, another big thing that you move with specialized moving is pool tables. Not like them little pool tables you buy at like Sport Mart or Sports Authority or Dick's. I'm talking about like a real billiard concrete slate pool table that you see at a pool hall. Like them things ain't no joke. I remember I had to move one in a basement, and that was the last time I took a pool table. We had to take the stairs out. We had to take the wall. We had to do a lot of work, and it just wasn't worth it. And I wasn't knowledgeable. We moved it there without any damage, but the maneuvering of the thing, a real billiard pool table is a concrete slate. It's slate with felt laid over it. That's heavy. So the leg, you can't move that in one piece. Those legs got to come off. So you moving the table, just the slate by itself, and then obviously you move the legs, and then you have to reassemble it, and then you got to turn it over. Like you got to have people that are really trained, really strong, know how to wrap it. But them pianos, like them Baldwins and some of those grand pianos, not the baby grands too, but some of them grand pianos, some of them player pianos, man, good luck. Good luck. Thanks to Mark Info, I got my MBE certification, and now we are in a better position to get a government contract. Shout out to Eric, man. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on that, man. Glad you got it. That's a small win. See, another small win. Took a while, like I said, it takes a while to get it, but that's a small win that's going to lead to bigger wins later. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. It's a lot of questions here, man. I'm burning up, man. I'm burning up. James, what brand of box dimensions do you look for in a U straight for Final Mile? Well, for Final Mile, you're going to need a 26-foot box truck. Really, I'm going to be honest with you. As long as it's a 26-foot box truck, you really don't need like specialized dimensions, like with like swing doors and stuff like that. You could get anything from 12.7 to 13.6. Matter of fact, in this market, I prefer 12.7 for a 26-foot box truck. You're not the tallest thing you're going to move is a refrigerator. And so you really don't need like a specialized dimension box truck, like swing doors, like how Kurt be talking about the certain size. No, as long as it's a 26-foot box truck, it really don't matter. Everything will fit in a 26-foot box truck, no matter what size. As far as now, if you're talking like height dimensions, 12.7 to 13.6, it doesn't really matter. Inner dimensions don't matter. As long as it's a 26-foot box truck, you'll be fine, man. You'll be fine. I've had 12.7 to 13.6. The height is a little bit different in all of them, but at the end of the day, anything that you're gonna run for final mile as far as home stuff, furniture and appliances will fit and will stand straight up. Minus the couches, obviously. Some couches won't be able to stand straight up, but most will. Let me see. Wait, okay, so for Find My, I need my own authority, or is it a 3PL minimum? No, you need your own authority. You're welcome. How, what can I use to get more familiar with my market when negotiating for contracts? You need to study your market. You need to do a market analysis of your market. Where do you live? What's the volume look like? Do a market analysis. Do a consumer analysis. Are you in a high density market or are you in a low density market? I did a live about all this stuff maybe 2 months ago. So you need to go back and look at those lives about density, high density, low density, how to create a business plan, understanding your market, all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff. I did a few lives on it a couple months ago. You gotta go back and watch those lives, man. All right. You definitely though, you gotta do a market analysis so you know what's going on in your market, so you know what lane to get into as far as you want to do appliances final mile, do you want to do furniture final mile, do you want to do curbside final mile? You got to do the research on your market. All right. So what can you use? You can use Google. Start with the demographics. All right. Where do you live? How many people live in the city that you live in? Where are the nearest logistics companies? How far are the logistics companies? What are the logistics companies? Okay, I'm in a city with 200,000 people. All right. So, now I got to see what's moving. You know what I'm saying? So you got to do a little research. Is my market, I live in a market with 200,000 people. Is it a high density market or a low density market? Do people live close like this, tight, or people spread further apart? Do you live in a rural area where it's low density? So that means you go get with a third-party logistics company, and because you live in a rural area, this logistics company is servicing all the rural areas. So you may have to drive 200 miles out every day. Your stops may be 20, 30 miles apart because you live in a low-density population, or your route is servicing a low-density population. You could live in a high-density area and go to a logistics company, right? And they could have volume, right? But because you're the new guy in, you're going to get the worst route. And usually the worst route is the route that goes out the farthest. So they may send you way out to the sticks. So you may have to drive 100 miles just to get to your first stop. So just because you live in a market that's high density, your route may be low density. So you need to do all the research. I just gave you some of the things you need to look for and understand. So hopefully you wrote that down or hit the rewind button or whatever, so you can go back and listen to that so you know what to search for. I just want to say thank you, Mark. You really helped me change my life with this IKEA route. Oh, man, you took the IKEA route? Now, that IKEA route is another example. I got plenty of examples for small wins. That's a good account to take when you're just getting into final mile, because it's a lot less liability driven. because IKEA furniture, a lot of that stuff is boxed and bagged. It's broken down because a lot of that stuff has to be assembled. Even some of those sofas have to be assembled, right? So a lot of that stuff is in boxes. It's smaller. It's easier to carry. Easier to carry. Easier to maneuver. So a lot less claims, if any, with IKEA. It's not taxing as some of these bigger, bulkier accounts. So that's another good account to have as a stepping stone. Like me personally, I don't recommend someone coming straight into Final Mile and going straight getting a Lowe's contract, or going straight getting a Best Buy contract, or going straight getting a Sears or a Home Depot appliance contract or a Lowe's contract. And the reason why is, if you've never done Final Mile delivery before and you go straight for the appliances, you're going to mess some stuff up. You're going to get to one of these refrigerators, and that refrigerator is going to beat you up. It's going to beat you up. Yeah, it's going to beat you up. You're going to hit that first stop, and it might be a little easy because it might be a ranch home, and they got a patio door on the side that lead right into the kitchen. And you like, okay, this is sweet. But then that next stop on your first day might be a raised elevated house, and they have the kitchen on. I've seen houses where the kitchen was on the second floor. You go in, you go up a flight of stairs, living area. Go up a flight of stairs, kitchen. Go up a flight of stairs, like it's 3-4 story home. Then you got the bedrooms. So you got to go up 2 flights of stairs just to get to the kitchen. I seen some cribs designed like that. People that got money, they design a crib however the hell they want to design. If they want a kitchen on the second floor, they want the kitchen on the second floor. But guess what? That's where the refrigerator got to go. So now you got to figure out how to get this 28 cubic foot Samsung French door refrigerator with this huge screen on the front of it up 2 flights of stairs, and you've never done it before. And it's tight too. It's a tight stairwell. You don't know if it's going to fit through the door. All that styrofoam that's all around it, all that's got to come off. It's got to go in raw dog. It's got to go in raw dog. It's got to go in raw dog. Ain't no way around it. Got to go in raw dog. So what do you do then? You know what I'm saying? So that's where you're going to get your first claim. And that's a $4,200 claim. That's about what you're going to make for the week. So your second stop on your first day, you have messed up a $4,200 refrigerator. Your route makes about $5,000 a week. So your second stop just cost you $4,200. Welcome to Final Mile. So I don't really recommend people jumping straight in, going straight to those types of contracts. I think you should start with something easier, like an IKEA. A lot of people keep asking to use my authority. Should I charge, and how much is a good price? I wouldn't let nobody use my authority. Okay? You let somebody use your authority, you make a few dollars for a few months, and then they go do some goofball stuff and mess up your authority. Now your business and your livelihood is messed up. Then what? Because you can't be responsible for what other people are doing. That's just me. I know people do it all the time, but me, I don't play games when it comes to my money. I don't play games with things that I don't have control over when it comes to my business. If I don't have full control over it, then I don't want to do it. And if you let somebody else use your authority, and they could be paying you, and they go do some goofball shit and mess your authority up, then that's on you. Now, they gonna scot-free. But your livelihood is messed up now. So, I can't give you a price. That's not something I would do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing nothing like that. Me personally, no. So I don't know what to charge. I wouldn't even recommend you do it, to be honest with you. Also, when growing, it's better to sell one contractor a multitude. Once you start building your business and you start getting more and more vehicles, you wanna diversify your your portfolio. You don't want to have all your trucks in one place. So let's say you got 5 trucks. You probably don't want to have all 5 in one place. If you built your first 2-3 trucks in that place, then you want to go probably put your new 2 trucks or your 4th truck. You probably want to open up a new account somewhere else, because what happens is you got 4 trucks, let's say 5 trucks running in one logistics company, and they let you go. Or you want to, for whatever reason, they let you go. Or let's say this happens. Let's say they lose the account. So if they lose the account with the retailer, let's say you're running with RXO and they lose Lowe's and that region, that market, you lose it too by default. So now those 5 trucks that you had all in that one spot is sitting until you go find a new contract. But if you got 3 trucks in there and then you got 2 trucks, let's say at NAL doing IKEA, and they lose that Lowe's contract, RXO lose that Lowe's contract, those 3 trucks is down, but you still generating revenue with the other 2 trucks at NAL with IKEA, while you looking for something to replace those 3 trucks that inadvertently lost that contract because RXO lost it. So you still got money coming in. It's just like any other business. You want to diversify your portfolio. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, similar to like the stock market. You don't want to have all your money into one stock, Apple. You want to diversify. Apple could be having a bad day today, but you got Microsoft is having a good day. You got Tesla too, they having a good day. So even though you lost money today on Apple, because you're diversified, you got other assets that are in the green that day to carry that. Same thing here. You answered it. I'll cross state lines if it fits the bill, but now it seems like cargo vans are only good one way. Deadhead back home eats up the profit. It sounds like they sending you far out. If deadheading back home is eating up your profit, what market are you in? I think they sell diffusers of some sort of to eliminate the vent turbulence. It's not easy at all. I have a couple of claims as well. You already got claims, so yeah. Well, what are you running? Did you tell me what you was running? I don't know. Yeah, I've been just answering questions, so I'm kind of all over the place with who I'm answering in regards to whatever. Yeah, so. Are you in Dallas? So, yeah. So they must be sending you way out to the sticks. I got some family from Chicago that moved to Dallas, and when they first moved to Dallas, they were staying like in McKinney and Plano, and now they bought a house. One bought a house way out in Anna, and another one a little farther out past Anna and Howe or some shit. And when I go visit them, I rent a car, and I'm like, man, it's like an hour drive from the airport, how far out they stay. So, they building those little towns, further out of Dallas. So it sounds like you probably got a route that's on the outskirts, way out there. So how many trucks do you think per contract? 2 or 3? That all depends on you. I had 9 trucks running one particular contract at one time. I had 9 trucks running one account. So, that all depends on the opportunities. If you got 5 trucks and you got 3 running here and 2 running there, and the place where you got 3 is asking, can you bring on more trucks? And you can bring on more trucks, then you're going to bring on more trucks. You know what I'm saying? So that could vary, but you still want to diversify. As you bring on more trucks here, as you're making money there, you want to include other trucks to run elsewhere as well. You want to diversify, because if you're leveraged heavy on this end and you're not really well diversified, if anything goes wrong, and let's say you got a multitude of assets over here running this account, and let's say they lose the contract and you're paying off trucks and things like that, you don't own these trucks, you got a lot of liability over here. So you kind of want to diversify to balance that liability out, to kind of carry that if something happens over here, you got something else or multitudes of something else's that, can kind of balance it out because you're diversified. Appliances from Lowe's, and it was a fridge. We are in the Joplin, Missouri area, and we do get routes that are further out. Yeah, the fridges will hurt you, So I don't know if you on the truck, but if you're not on the truck, you need to train. And if you're not knowledgeable on, maneuvering, then you need to find somebody to train you so that you can train your workers. With Final Mile, you constantly have to train. Constantly have to train. And when you find someone that's really, really exceptionally well with Final Mile, it's your obligation, it's your duty to pay them very, very handsomely. If you get somebody that's good at Final Mile, that knows what they're doing, that knows how to move furniture and maneuver it really, really well, you have to pay them very, very well, because now this is your guy, your go-to guy, who you really don't have to worry about as far as getting claims. And also this becomes your hands-on trainer. So you're paying him well, so you don't have to worry about him going nowhere. But everybody that you're cycling and funneling in now has to go through him. So you have to pay him exceptionally well for doing his job, and then you have to pay him exceptionally well because he's going to be the guy training all the new recruits on what to do. So if I were you, I would focus on training yourself, training your workers. And ultimately, you can get that guy that I'm talking about one day. And if you find that guy, then you have to pay him really, really good to keep him, because he's going to be your tool that helps get you to the next level. So, all right, let me close out this poll. We got 113 votes. So 113 people voted. 71 people hit the like button. I hope y'all enjoyed this presentation tonight. I think tonight was a great presentation. I'm going to give it a A-. Which one is your box truck goal? 1 to 5 trucks, 46%. Which was the most. So people want more than one truck, somewhere between 2 and 5. Let's say I should put 2 and 5. One truck owner operator came in second at 26%. 11 plus trucks came in at third at 15%, and 6 to 10 trucks came in fourth at 11%. So a lot of people want somewhere between 1 and 5 trucks. All right, 46%. And it's doable. You just have to set small goals to create small wins, and then run off that momentum to hit that vision that you see of 5 trucks, or somewhere between 1 and 5 trucks. 1 and 5 trucks is easily attainable, but you first have to master one. And by mastering one, like I said, you got to think small. Small wins. Keep stacking them small wins up. So I hope y'all got something good out of this presentation tonight. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Monday night, the Wise Men podcast. Make sure y'all tune in for the Wise Men podcast too. A lot of people, it's like, man, I need y'all to tune in for the Wise Men podcast. It's a good podcast. We talk about different topics. Sometimes we debate. It's a little bit more. It's educational, but not as straight education like this one. So it's 50% educational, 25% entertainment, maybe like another 25% like real life situations type stuff. So make sure y'all tune into that. Monday, I got some new videos coming out, so I'm back in these YouTube streets, man. I'm trying to put out more content, man. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Until next time, I'm out.